You have spent too much of your life carrying everyone else's weight, while silently neglecting your own soul. You have mistaken sacrifice for purpose, and servitude for destiny. But hear this truth: you are not selfish because you choose to focus on yourself. You are finally awakening to who you truly are. For too long you have dimmed your light so others could shine, but light was never meant to be hidden. Light was designed to reveal, to guide, to lead, to stand tall without apology. The greatest responsibility given to you on this earth is not your family, not your friends, not your career. It is yourself. You cannot pour into anyone else if you are empty. You cannot lead anyone if you have lost your own way. To invest in your growth, to protect your mind, to guard your spirit, to sharpen your gifts. This is not selfishness. This is stewardship. When you rise, when you become whole, when you awaken to the call that rests inside of you, the world will benefit from the overflow. There is a voice inside you that has been silenced for too long. It whispers of dreams you buried under responsibility, visions you traded for acceptance, callings you ignored because fear told you they were too great for someone like you. That voice is stirring again. It is not madness, it is not arrogance. It is your divine assignment demanding your attention. It is the seed of destiny placed within you from the beginning, now pressing through the soil of doubt and limitation. To focus on you is to honor the gift of life you have been entrusted with. To focus on you is to recognize that you were not born to be a shadow in someone else's story. You were born to write your own. You were born to manifest the hidden potential that the world has yet to see. Every hour you spend developing yourself is an investment into the lives you will impact. Every boundary you set to protect your peace is a declaration that your purpose matters. Do not apologize for awakening. Do not shrink back when others misunderstand. They may call it selfishness, but you know it is vision. They may call it pride, but you know it is stewardship. You are not neglecting others. You are preparing to serve them in the fullness of your strength. You are finally rising to the level where your destiny demands you to stand, and when you stand, everything around you will rise with you. Focusing on yourself is not selfishness. It is stewardship of your life and purpose. You cannot serve or lead others effectively until you first nurture, strengthen, and awaken yourself. Your hidden dreams, visions, and callings are divine assignments waiting for your attention. Protecting your peace, setting boundaries, and investing in personal growth is preparation for greater impact. When you rise into your true potential, everyone connected to you benefits from your overflow. Would you like me to also reshape these into short, punchy quotes that sound like motivational lines you could use in a presentation or on social media? Focusing on yourself is not selfishness. It is stewardship of your life and purpose. Many people have been conditioned to believe that giving all of themselves away is the ultimate form of love, that to be selfless means to abandon their own needs and desires in service to others. But there is a difference between love and neglect, between sacrifice and surrendering your destiny. When you begin to prioritize your growth, your healing, your dreams, and your vision, you are not betraying anyone. You are honoring the responsibility of life that was given to you. To take care of yourself is to acknowledge that your existence carries weight, your presence has value, and your potential has significance. Stewardship means managing wisely what has been entrusted to you. Your body, your mind, your gifts, your time, and your purpose are not accidents. They are divine investments placed in your hands. Imagine being entrusted with something priceless, yet treating it as though it had no worth. That is what happens when you ignore your own development for the comfort of others. The truth is, you cannot pour into anyone if you are running on empty. You cannot give the world your best when you have not taken the time to cultivate it. By neglecting yourself, you rob not only yourself of fulfillment, but also the world of the contribution you were designed to bring. Think of it like a seed that is never planted, never watered, and never cared for can never grow into the tree it was meant to be. No matter how much potential rests inside it, neglect will keep it dormant. You are that seed. Inside of you lies the capacity to inspire, to innovate, to lead, to transform, but if you refuse to focus on your growth, that capacity remains hidden. People may see you, but they will never taste the fruit you were meant to produce. When you choose to nurture your own soil, to water your own life with knowledge, discipline, and vision, you are not being selfish. You are preparing to feed nations. This is why airplanes instruct passengers to put on their own oxygen mask before helping others. It is not a call to selfishness, but to wisdom. If you collapse from lack of oxygen, you cannot save anyone else. In the same way, if you burn yourself out, exhaust your energy, and abandon your dreams, you cannot empower anyone around you. To focus on yourself is to secure the strength you need to be a blessing to others. It is to acknowledge that your well-being directly influences the lives you are connected to. A whole, healed and focused you can do far more for the world than a drained, broken, and distracted you. Many people are trapped by guilt, believing that saying yes to themselves is the same as saying no to others. But in reality, when you say yes to yourself, you are equipping yourself to show up with greater love, greater wisdom, and greater effectiveness. When you prioritize rest, you return with energy. When you invest in knowledge, you return with solutions. When you build your vision, you return with opportunities for others to flourish. Focusing on yourself multiplies your impact rather than diminishes it. It is also important to understand that the world often misunderstands self-focus. People may call it arrogance, selfishness, or pride, but that is only because they are unfamiliar with stewardship. True selfishness is using your gifts only for personal gain and ignoring the needs of others. True selfishness is hiding your light and refusing to share it. But true stewardship is developing yourself so that what you carry can serve a greater purpose. It is the discipline of sharpening the tools of your mind, your character, and your spirit, so that when the time comes, you can build something lasting. Focusing on yourself also means aligning with the unique design placed within you. No two lives are the same, and no two destinies are identical. The moment you take responsibility for your own journey, you break free from the trap of comparison and people pleasing. You begin to realize that your calling requires your attention. What others may consider selfish is actually you tuning your life toward the assignment only you can fulfill. The world does not need another imitation. It needs the authentic version of you, fully awakened and fully alive. You cannot afford to live life on autopilot, drifting with the expectations of others while silencing the voice inside you. That voice is your compass, and when you honor it, you begin to discover paths you never knew existed. Focusing on yourself is how you tune into that voice, how you refine your purpose, and how you build the strength to walk it out with confidence. Every hour spent in reflection, learning, and self-discipline is an investment into your destiny. Every choice to guard your energy, your focus, and your vision is a declaration that your life matters. When you finally embrace this truth, you see that focusing on yourself is not an act of neglecting others, but an act of preparing to serve them in the highest way possible. You become more patient, more understanding, more capable of guiding and supporting others because you are operating from a place of fullness rather than lack. You stop giving fragments of yourself and start giving the best of yourself. That is the power of stewardship, managing the life entrusted to you with wisdom, vision, and intentionality. And in doing so, you honor both yourself and the world that is waiting for what only you can bring. You cannot serve or lead others effectively until you first nurture, strengthen, and awaken yourself. Leadership is not about carrying titles or positions. It is about influence, impact, and the ability to guide others into a better future. Yet influence requires substance, and substance comes from within. If you attempt to lead while empty, your guidance will be shallow. If you try to serve while broken, your service will be inconsistent. You cannot give what you do not have, and you cannot sustain what you have not built. The strength of your leadership is always rooted in the strength of your personal foundation. So many people desire to be leaders, helpers, and change makers, but they overlook the most important assignment, leading themselves first. Self-leadership means discipline, clarity of vision, mastery over your emotions, and commitment to growth. If you do not master yourself, life will master you. If you do not discipline yourself, circumstances will dictate your choices. And if you do not grow yourself, you will eventually collapse under the weight of the very people you tried to carry. To nurture yourself is not a distraction from leadership. It is preparation for it. The most powerful leaders are those who have first conquered their own fears, insecurities, and limitations. Imagine a cup that is cracked and leaking. No matter how much water is poured into it, it cannot hold enough to quench another's thirst. That is the condition of a leader who refuses to be healed. They may give for a while, but eventually the leaks in their own soul will drain their capacity. They begin to resent the very people they wanted to help because their service comes from depletion instead of overflow. But when you take the time to repair, to restore, and to strengthen yourself, you become a vessel capable of carrying more. Your leadership shifts from survival to abundance. Awakening yourself means coming into awareness of who you are, what you carry, and why you exist. Many people are in positions of influence but lack self-awareness, and so they lead blindly. They repeat patterns, perpetuate cycles, and sometimes even harm those they intended to help because they have not done the inner work. But when you awaken, you lead with intention rather than reaction. You become sensitive to your purpose and careful with your influence. You no longer speak or act carelessly because you understand the weight of your words and the responsibility of your actions. Serving others from a place of wholeness transforms the quality of your service. Instead of giving crumbs, you give wisdom. Instead of draining yourself, you empower others. True service is not measured by how much of yourself you lose, but by how much of yourself you multiply in others. And multiplication requires overflow. You nurture yourself so that your wisdom, your strength, your creativity, and your love spill over into the lives around you. People will always draw from your example more than your words, and the example of a disciplined, awakened, and focused life inspires more deeply than speeches ever could. This principle is why the greatest leaders in history were also the most disciplined students of life. They read, they reflected, they practiced stillness, they sought wisdom. They understood that without constant renewal, leadership becomes mechanical and hollow. They took time to build themselves not because they wanted to escape responsibility, but because they understood that their growth was directly tied to their ability to lift others. Leadership without personal growth is temporary, but leadership rooted in inner transformation endures. There is also a danger in believing that helping others is enough to hide your own emptiness. Many people mask their brokenness with service. They stay busy serving so they do not have to face their own pain. But service without self-care eventually crumbles. You can wear a smile, you can work tirelessly, but deep inside you are collapsing. That collapse will show sooner or later, through burnout, resentment, or even the loss of vision. This is why nurturing yourself is not optional. It is the foundation upon which lasting influence is built. To strengthen yourself means developing habits of consistency. It means taking care of your body, sharpening your mind, feeding your spirit, and aligning your daily choices with your larger purpose. Small acts of discipline, done consistently, create the inner strength that leadership requires. No one sees the hours of preparation, the sacrifices made, the nights of study, the discipline of guarding your thoughts. But all of it shows when you stand before others. Your presence carries a weight that cannot be faked because it was forged in private. True awakening is not about perfection, it is about authenticity. People do not need flawless leaders, they need leaders who are whole. They need leaders who have faced themselves honestly and emerged stronger. When you awaken yourself, you do not lead from ego or insecurity. You lead from clarity, knowing that your identity is not tied to the applause of the crowd, but to the purpose within you. That authenticity gives others permission to embrace their own journey, to nurture themselves, and to rise into their own potential. You cannot expect to change the world if you refuse to change yourself. You cannot expect to heal others if you remain unhealed. The measure of your leadership will always reflect the measure of your inner growth. When you nurture, strengthen, and awaken yourself, you step into leadership that is not forced but natural. People are drawn to your light because it is real, and they trust your guidance because it is rooted in truth. This is why the greatest service you can give to others begins with the service you give to yourself. Your hidden dreams, visions, and callings are divine assignments waiting for your attention. Too often, the deepest parts of who you are remain buried beneath the weight of fear, doubt, or the expectations of others. Dreams that once set your heart on fire have been placed on the shelf. Visions that once stirred your imagination have been silenced, and callings that whispered to you in the quiet moments have been drowned out by the noise of daily survival. But those desires within you are not random thoughts or fleeting fantasies. They are assignments placed in your spirit, seeds of destiny that were designed to come alive at the right time. Every person enters the world with something unique, a treasure hidden within them. That treasure often reveals itself through the dreams you carry, the ideas that won't leave you, the burdens you feel for problems others ignore. These are signals of your purpose. To dismiss them as childish or unrealistic is to deny the very blueprint of your life. Those dreams are divine instructions in disguise, calling you toward the future you were created to manifest. They are not given for entertainment, but for fulfillment. The tragedy is not in dreaming too big. The tragedy is in never believing enough to try. Dreams often go into hiding because of pain or rejection. Perhaps you shared your vision with someone who laughed, dismissed you, or told you it was impossible. Perhaps life struggles forced you into survival mode, and in that mode, dreams feel like luxuries. Perhaps fear convinced you that you are not qualified, not worthy, not ready. But no matter how deeply you bury them, dreams do not die, they wait. They wait for you to find the courage to believe again, the strength to step out again, the faith to trust that if the dream was given to you, it is possible for you. Visions are not accidents. They are glimpses of what could be if you align your life with your assignment. When you see possibilities others cannot see, it is not coincidence. It is calling. That vision is entrusted to you because you are the one capable of carrying it. To ignore it is to leave a gap in the world that only you can fill. The book unwritten, the song unsung, the business unbuilt, the solution uncreated, all of these are not just losses to you, but to everyone who would have been impacted by them. The world suffers when visionaries hide. Your calling is not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it is a quiet tug in your heart, a persistent thought that refuses to fade, a sense that you are meant for more than what you are currently doing. It may not announce itself with trumpets, but it will not leave you alone. That is because your calling is tied to your identity. It is not something you can exchange or erase. It is who you are. Running from it only creates frustration, because you cannot find peace until you begin to move toward the life you were designed to live. Many people confuse humility with denial. They believe it is humble to dismiss their gifts, to call their visions insignificant, to shrink back from their callings. But humility is not denying what is in you. It is acknowledging that what is in you came from a higher source and must be stewarded responsibly. True humility is saying, yes, I carry this dream, but I know it is not for me alone. It is for those who will benefit when it comes alive. That mindset transforms fear into courage because you realize your dream is not about your ego, but about your assignment. To awaken your dreams and callings, you must give them your attention. Attention is the water that causes seeds to grow. This means creating space in your life for reflection, for planning, for developing your gifts. It means guarding your environment, surrounding yourself with people who encourage rather than suffocate your vision. It means silencing the voices of doubt and amplifying the voice of purpose. Every time you give your dream attention, whether by writing, practicing, studying, or preparing, you breathe life into it. Dreams ignored become dormant, but dreams nurtured begin to move. Fear will always stand at the door of destiny. It will tell you the dream is too big, too costly, too risky. But remember, fear is not evidence of impossibility. It is evidence of significance. The size of your fear often matches the size of your calling. This is why stepping into your dream requires courage, not the absence of fear, but the decision to move despite it. Courage is what separates those who only imagine from those who manifest. Every great achievement began with someone who dared to believe that their vision mattered enough to act on. When you begin to honor your hidden dreams, you shift the trajectory of your life. You stop living as a passive participant and start living as a co-creator of your destiny. You discover gifts you never knew you had, doors you never thought could open, and opportunities that align perfectly with your purpose. And as you step into your calling, you become a light for others who are still hiding their own. Your obedience to your dream gives permission for others to pursue theirs. The world is waiting for what you carry. That idea, that gift, that vision, it was not placed in you by mistake. It is a divine assignment, a piece of the puzzle of humanity that only you can complete. To ignore it is to deprive the world of your contribution. But to embrace it is to align with the reason you were created, to live fully awake, and to walk in the power of your destiny. Protecting your peace, setting boundaries, and investing in personal growth is preparation for greater impact. Many people believe that to be effective, they must be available to everyone, everywhere, at all times. They spread themselves thin, saying yes to every request, allowing anyone to interrupt their focus, and carrying burdens that were never meant for them. But the truth is, when you live without boundaries, you slowly lose yourself. Peace is not a luxury, it is a necessity. It is the foundation upon which clarity, creativity, and strength are built. Without peace, your vision becomes clouded, your decisions become reactive, and your energy becomes scattered. Protecting your peace is not selfish. It is an act of wisdom. Peace is the atmosphere in which growth happens. Just as a seed needs good soil to grow, your life needs peace to flourish. Chaos and distraction choke out progress, while stillness and focus allow your gifts to develop. When you guard your peace, you are creating the environment that allows your potential to emerge. It means choosing carefully what you allow into your mind, what conversations you entertain, and what environments you expose yourself to. Not everything deserves your attention, and not everyone deserves access to your energy. Protecting your peace is learning to say no to what diminishes you, so you can say yes to what develops you. Boundaries are an extension of valuing yourself. They are the lines you draw to protect your time, your energy, and your focus. Without boundaries, people will unknowingly or even knowingly drain you, leaving little left for your true assignment. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are gates to control what comes in. They allow you to decide who and what aligns with your purpose and who and what does not. By setting boundaries, you are teaching others how to value you, but more importantly, you are teaching yourself that your calling is worth protecting. Every boundary you set is a declaration that your destiny matters. Investing in personal growth is how you prepare for greater responsibility. You cannot expect to handle tomorrow's opportunities with yesterday's capacity. Growth expands your ability to carry more, to lead more, and to influence more. When you read, when you study, when you seek wisdom, when you practice discipline, you are not just improving yourself. You are enlarging the vessel through which your purpose flows. Growth is preparation. It equips you with the tools, the mindset, and the strength to manage the impact you are destined to have. Without growth, opportunities will overwhelm you. With growth, opportunities will reveal your readiness. There will always be pressure to neglect yourself for the sake of others, but neglect is never the path to effectiveness. True impact comes from wholeness. The most influential leaders are those who know how to balance serving others with protecting themselves. They know when to give and when to rest. They understand that if they collapse, everything connected to them collapses too. They prioritize their peace and their growth, not because they are selfish, but because they recognize that their lives are instruments of purpose. Instruments must be tuned, protected, and maintained to produce the right sound. You are no different. It is also important to understand that peace and growth work hand in hand. Peace gives you clarity, and growth gives you strength. Peace shows you direction, and growth gives you the ability to walk in it. Peace keeps your heart centered, and growth keeps your mind sharp. Together they make you stable, focused, and effective. Without peace, you are restless. Without growth, you are stagnant. But with both, you become a force of impact, calm yet powerful, still yet unstoppable. There will be people who misunderstand your boundaries. They may accuse you of changing, of becoming distant, or of being too focused on yourself. But what they see as distance is actually development. What they call selfishness is actually stewardship. You cannot live by the opinions of others and expect to fulfill your calling. Boundaries are not meant to please people. They are meant to protect purpose. In time, those who truly value you will see that your boundaries and your growth benefit not only you but also them, because a stronger you means a greater impact on everyone connected to you. Every season of preparation requires sacrifice. Protecting your peace means walking away from distractions that once entertained you. Setting boundaries means saying no to relationships and opportunities that no longer align with your direction. Investing in growth means choosing discipline over comfort, study over idleness, consistency over excuses. These sacrifices are not losses, they are exchanges. You are trading what diminishes you for what develops you, what wastes your time for what multiplies it, what drains you for what strengthens you. That is the price of impact. When you live with peace, boundaries, and growth, you position yourself for sustainability. Many can rise quickly, but few can remain standing. It is not talent alone that sustains impact. It is character, discipline, and balance. Protecting your peace keeps you from burnout. Setting boundaries keeps you from exploitation. Investing in growth keeps you from stagnation. Together, these practices ensure that your influence does not fade with time, but multiplies with consistency. Greater impact does not come by accident, it comes by preparation. Every act of protecting your peace, every boundary you set, every moment you invest in your growth is a seed for your future. Those seeds, over time, produce a harvest of influence, wisdom, and strength that not only transforms your life, but touches the lives of countless others. The world may only see the fruit, but it is your unseen commitment to peace, boundaries, and growth that produces it. When you rise into your true potential, everyone connected to you benefits from your overflow. The journey of awakening and stepping into purpose is never about you alone. It may begin with personal discipline, self-discovery, and courage, but its effects ripple far beyond your own life. Just as a tree does not eat its own fruit, your growth is not only for your satisfaction, but for the nourishment of those around you. The people in your family, your community, and even those you may never meet are waiting for the results of your transformation. When you choose to rise, you become a source of blessing, inspiration, and opportunity for others. Potential is like a reservoir. It is filled with unseen strength, hidden ideas, dormant gifts, and unexpressed greatness. For as long as it stays locked inside, no one can benefit from it, not even you. But when you allow that potential to rise, when you activate your gifts, when you walk boldly in your calling, you release streams of life that flow outward. Others drink from your courage, others are guided by your wisdom, others are empowered by your example. Your overflow becomes a well from which many can draw. That is why rising is not optional. It is a responsibility. Consider the way a lamp works in a dark room. When the lamp is off, the room remains in darkness, and people stumble without direction. But when the lamp is switched on, not only does the lamp fulfill its purpose, but everyone in the room benefits from its light. Your potential works the same way. When you hide it, people remain in darkness, but when you shine, others see clearly, others gain confidence, and others find their way. Your rising brings illumination to those who would otherwise remain in shadow. When you rise, you shift the atmosphere of your environment. A family with one person who chooses to live fully awakened becomes a family with a new standard. A workplace with one person who chooses excellence becomes a workplace with a new culture. A community with one person who steps into purpose becomes a community with new possibilities. Others may not say it, but they are watching you. They are drawing strength from your decisions. They are measuring their own courage by your example. Your growth is contagious, your passion is magnetic, your success gives others permission to believe in their own. This is why you must never underestimate the impact of your rise. It is easy to think your journey is insignificant, that your changes affect only you. But you are connected to more lives than you realize. Every act of discipline, every victory over fear, every dream you pursue is opening doors for someone else. Children who see a parent rise learn that their own dreams are possible. Friends who watch you grow discover they can grow too. Strangers who hear your story find the strength to write their own. Your overflow becomes their starting point. Rising into your potential also breaks cycles. Many are trapped in patterns of limitation because they have never seen another way. But when you step into your calling, you disrupt those patterns. You show that poverty does not have to continue, that brokenness does not have to repeat, that small thinking does not have to define the future. You create a new path, and by walking it, you make it easier for others to follow. What was once impossible becomes normal simply because you dared to rise. Overflow is not about excess wealth or possessions. It is about abundance of spirit, wisdom, love, and influence. When you rise, you operate from a place of fullness, and that fullness spills into every interaction. You speak life where others hear only doubt. You bring solutions where others see only problems. You extend opportunities where others faced only closed doors. Your overflow is what transforms environments and elevates lives. The more you grow, the more you have to give, not from strain, but from surplus. Of course, rising requires courage. It means facing resistance, misunderstanding, and even opposition. Some will question why you strive for more, why you refuse to settle, why you choose to protect your vision, but they cannot see the harvest hidden in your seed. They do not yet realize that your rising is not about outshining them, but about lifting them. As you continue upward, even those who doubted will one day taste the fruit of your growth. Your life will become undeniable evidence that when one person rises, many others rise with them. The beauty of overflow is that it is uncontainable. It spreads without effort. You may never know the full extent of your impact. Someone may read your words years later and be changed. Someone may watch the way you live and silently choose a higher path. Someone may be encouraged by your resilience in a moment when they were ready to quit. All of this happens not because you tried to please everyone, but because you chose to step into your potential and live fully alive. When you rise, you do more than fulfill your own destiny. You create a legacy. Your life becomes a reference point, a testimony, a light post for others on their own journey. And long after you are gone, the overflow of your potential will continue to touch lives, proving that one person's decision to rise can echo through generations. So as you stand at this moment of awakening, remember this. Choosing to focus on yourself is not selfish. It is obedience to the assignment within you. You are not abandoning others. You are preparing to serve them from the strength of your overflow. Every boundary you set, every seed of growth you nurture, every dream you choose to honor is positioning you to rise into the fullness of who you were created to be. Do not apologize for waking up. Do not shrink to fit the comfort of those who refuse to rise. Step boldly into your potential, because when you rise, everything and everyone connected to you rises with you. The world is waiting for you to awaken, and the time is now.